Hello! Time for the 3 sweetest words in the English language. Crap action figures. Yep, today we're looking at bootleg action figures. Well, 2 series of bootlegs and 1 official series which are pretty much as bad as bootlegs. The first people to be bitten by the knockoff monkey today are the Star Wars people, or George Lucas and his neck, as they're also known. Dun 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 dun! Ooh, looks a bit like Boba Fett, doesn't he? Well, sort of slightly distorted, not quite as detailed as he should be, Boba Fett in funny colours. Yep, you see, back in 1996, Hasbro, the official Star Wars action figure people, released some new Star Wars figures. And guess what? Somebody nicked them, did some sort of nefarious mould copying and retooling, and released these twice the normal size versions. And very odd they are as well, mainly through the colouring choices that we'll see later. Right, first things first, package art. Galaxy Empire. Ooh, I wonder where they got that idea. Completely knocked off artwork of the Millennium Falcon, a few TIE fighters and a Star Destroyer. Twistable head and waist, movable arms and legs. Whoopee, every child's dream. Back of the packet, literally nothing except a hole I accidentally poked in it earlier. CE Fantastic. Interesting, the people who imported these to the UK give nothing but a PO box number. Why are we not surprised? Don't sue us, Mr. Lucas, or your neck. Okay, look at the figure itself. Not really that bad. It's a bit sort of cheapy plastic, hokey looking Boba Fett, with a big plastic silver gun right next to him. Marvellous. Yeah, that'll pass to a small child who, I don't know, doesn't have very good eyes. But they get progressively worse. Next up is the Stormtrooper. Slightly mutant head on him. He also looks a bit sad, like he's just done a sort of 15-hour shift and they're not letting him go home yet. Big gun again, and weird blue highlights, including the soles of his trainers and his gloves. Again, not terrible. We can live with that. Now we get to Darth Vader. He's gone a bit brown and gold for some reason. Mostly brown. Well, I say brown, I think perhaps it's a really deep maroony red. Very odd looking, whatever. And he's got these weird sort of white eyes going on that make him look like he's gone blind or something. A little bit strange. Surely they could find some black plastic. Also, his lightsaber is horribly warped, so it looks like he's running around with a big red banana. Move into that what you will. Next up, poor old Chewbacca. His face has gone a bit overly friendly, and he's gone grey. Well, happens to all of us at some point. At least he didn't go bald. Imagine what he'd look like. Yeah, that's not too bad, I suppose. They've actually done a bit of paintwork to give some sort of darkening effect on his head and around his shoulders. Wow. More work than you think they'd put into this. Still not interesting though. Next up, it's Chewbacca again. So gutted that he's gone grey, he's got a disguise so nobody knows. Now this is from Shadows of the Empire, where he's disguised as some bounty hunter with a ridiculous name like Choo Choo or something. Again, he's just all grey really. It seems to have more detail than the other one. Slightly odd choice of purple sash. Big silver gun as always. Yeah, I've seen worse. In fact, here is the worst. Luke Skywalker in Jedi Knights. No, it isn't. It's the sort of Tatooine gear he had in the first film, but they've painted it black. Fair enough. Fairly sensible colour choice. Very bad paint on the hands. Look at that, all got the sleeve. Ugh. Big silver gun, of course, but look at the face. I'm a bit surprised. I wasn't expecting this. Oh, I don't know what to do. Good grief, they've given him a big flat nose, a sort of mutant cheekbone thing going on, and giant mad staring eyes. He just looks like a really confused thicko. Surely he'd have been played by Keanu Reeves if that was the case. But we've saved the best till last. Han Solo. Slightly odd colour scheme with jeans and that funny maroon colour on his jacket again, and indeed a grey shirt and a big silver gun. Yes, I'm trying to avoid the elephant in the room of his eyes. We gone done blown up the Death Star. I don't really think any comment is necessary on that, is it? Right, next people to be ripped off are the people we call Transformers. Robots in disguise as... Do you know who Optimus Prime is, the leader of the Autobots? He's the one who looks a bit like this. Yes, this is a knockoff toy, and it's a pretty damn good one. It kind of looks right. It's made out of very cheap plastic, but it's nicely articulated. You can have him dancing and playing football and shooting people with his silly gun and waving his weird glowing axe thing. In fact, it's very, very authentic, except for some reason they've given him a little Tutankhamun beard. Very strange. Also, there's some kind of electric device which lights up in his chest, but the batteries had sort of gone all mouldy before I even bought it, so we'll ignore that one. Question is, does he transform into the truck? Let's find out if I remember, because this has been sitting in a cupboard for years. Right, hands go in there. Oh dear, I feel like you're breaking it. That's never a good thing. Oh, hands don't seem to twist around any more than that, actually. Head goes back in there. These obviously flip up. Might go round or something. Oh no, I'm going to break this. Oh no, here we go. These flip up into there. That goes round. Perhaps I should have done that first. Good grief. And yes, we're there. Yes, it looks a bit crap actually like this, doesn't it? It doesn't fit together very well, and there's all big blue bits showing. And I can't help feeling his robot disguise isn't very good, because all you have to do is look over the top and his head's quite obviously in there. Incidentally, I didn't get a trailer with it just came with a cardboard box that you put on the back and pretended it was a trailer. That's the kind of stuff we're dealing with here. Oh, sorry. Finally, it's G.I. Joe and Street Fighter 2 all together. These were actually official figures, released to cash in on Street Fighter 2 by Hasbro, the company that make G.I. Joe figures, with the little military figures with a cool articulation. Now, the problem is, Hasbro were a little bit tight-fisted, and mostly just used existing bodies for the figures and stuck new heads on them, which is a bit of a swine because some of the bodies don't really fit. But never mind, let's start with the good ones and work our way down. Sagat! Yes, it actually looks like him. Hello! Very miserable, grumpy face. Proper new parts for everything. Look, he's got all the bandages around his ankles and that, and his silly shorts, and a huge horrible scar on his chest. Hey, pretty good. You know, if you just saw this figure, you'd think the whole line was pretty decent. Let's debunk that, shall we? Well, not quite yet. It's Dalsim. I must apologise. Whichever child owned these before I bought them at a car boot sale sprayed a lot of them with Tipp-Ex and red paint and other such gumph. I've tried to clean them up as best I can, but the results are still a bit nasty. Anyway, Dalsim looks a bit angry, mostly because somebody sprayed him with Tipp-Ex, I imagine. But again, all custom parts. He's got his ruined trousers or whatever they are, held up with a bit of electrical cord. Tipp-Ex up his legs, and some stupid action figure whereby he goes like... Oh. Does anybody like these action features on figures? They just sort of restrict what you can do with them, don't they? Look at me fight you by moving my arm. Fantastic. But no, that's pretty good, isn't it? Looks like Dalsim. Hey. Oh dear, things go downhill from here. Vega, the Spanish ninja. That's a really weird concept now I think about it. Anyway, he's got a really crap head. He's got this strange long ponytail thing that's bald underneath, and his mask kind of looks like it doesn't leave him any room to have a face underneath. That's a bit spooky. And the body is quite obviously taken from another figure entirely, with weird weapons across his chest and silly gloves. Don't worry, it's all downhill from here. Here's Balrog, or M. Bison, depending if you're playing the Japanese version or not. Face is pretty good. Looks a bit older than the boxer it was obviously ripped off from. And the rest of the body is taken from another boxer figure in the G.I. Joe line. But it's not too bad, I suppose, although, you know, he didn't have this big cross in him in the game. But that's nothing as compared to Ryu, who looks a bit like a stormtrooper, with a strange gigantic head. The head's a bit kind of nondescript, and the rest of the body is just all wrong, frankly. It's, again, taken from another figure, and he's got weird gloves with shuriken on, and funny little shoes, and a big black belt, and other such things, which looks pretty bad until you compare it with the horror that is Ken. Right, let's look at the body first for this one. Again, covered in weapons and sort of funny armour and things that he didn't have in the game. But there's really no excuse for the head. They custom built it for Ken, and look at it. He looks like some sort of deranged zombie, or lead singer of a really bad German heavy metal band. Ugh. I mean, good grief. That's really poor. And now we're going to have to get into Blanca. Clean your teeth before you sleep. Yep. He's got nice teeth, he's got green skin, and he's got funny hair, and he's got big boots and military exploding arrows on his legs, and this isn't Blanca at all. It's not even his brother, Jeff. And finally, let's get up to old Zangief. Quite a good head on this one. The body is sort of not like he is in the game, but vaguely fits, I suppose. Hang on. Let's go here and go down again. What is going on with his crotch and his legs? What's going on with Zangief's crotch? That's a great line to take out of context. Look, it sort of looks like a robot thing, and all up his legs, there seems to be circuitry. And I can indeed shed some light on this. He's using the same legs as a robot figure they released once. Look, there it is. Big chunky waist thing. And you can see all the detail of the circuits and things on the legs. So why have they given Zangief robot legs? Seems absolutely ridiculous. Perhaps they were trying to emulate those scars he has in the game. I don't know. And now, an end bit. To try and stop people emailing me saying, "Hey, where'd you get these from?" I'm going to tell you where I got them from. These figures, as I hinted earlier, came from a car boot sale. They were officially released by Hasbro onto the mass market years ago, and you can pick them up on eBay for slightly frighteningly high prices. Next up, Optimus Prime. He came from the British institution and tat hole known as Poundland. You'll like what they do, because everything's a pound in Poundland, as their stupid old advertising tune went before everybody got sick of it. Yeah, so he came from Poundland about 2 years ago. You've got virtually no chance of finding him these days whatsoever, because they must have all sold out 2 years ago. And if you didn't like the answer to that, you're really going to hate the answer to where I got Galaxy Empire from. I got them from Poundland about 8 years ago, so you've got about as much chance of finding these as you have of finding Bigfoot in your sock drawer. And everybody knows he's behind the curtains.